If you live along the border with Canada, it mostly doesn't feel like a different country. People cross back and forth to shop, visit friends and family, boat, you name it, all the time. That's fed a long-time sense of familiarity, camaraderie, and dependence between communities on either side of the border. But with Trump's tariffs and his threats of annexing Canada, things are tense. Some cross-border neighbors got together recently to try to find a way forward. That's today's story of the day.
Support for Story of the Day comes from Morja Wealth Management, serving the North Country for 3 generations. MorjaWM.com, securities offered through Hightower Securities, LLC, member FINRA, SIPC. Hightower is an SEC-registered investment advisor. And Kinney Drugs, now offering specialized home medical equipment and supplies. Learn more at KinneyHomeCare.com.
Hey, I'm David Sommerstein. It's Tuesday, July 15th. First up, one of the main connector trails in the Adirondack High Peaks is currently closed because of a massive mudslide off Mount Colden. Heavy rain in recent days swept huge trees and other debris off the mountain and into Avalanche Pass. The DEC has closed the trail to Avalanche Lake and Lake Colden from the Adirondack Lodge. The mudslide in Avalanche Pass has also made some loop routes impassable, including over Algonquin Peak, Mount Colden, and Mount Marcy back to the lodge. There was another mudslide on the southeastern side of Colden, which is blocking the trail into Feldspar and Lake Arnold from Keene. The DEC said the damage from that slide was not as extensive. A panel of judges declined to permanently appoint the acting U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of New York. Jung-Yoon Han from the New York Public News Network reports.
John Sarcone has been the acting U.S. Attorney for the Northern District of New York for the last 4 months. But in a rare move, a panel of federal judges denied Sarcone a permanent appointment 1 day before his interim term expired. If Sarcone wants to keep his job, President Donald Trump would have to officially nominate him and get confirmation in the Senate. But U.S. Senator Chuck Schumer said he would veto any of Trump's appointments in New York. It's unclear who will fill the position. Sarcone, who has no previous experience as a prosecutor, worked on Trump's election legal team in 2016 and previously ran a failed bid for New York State Attorney General. In Albany, I'm Jung-Yoon Han for the New York Public News Network.
4 airports in the North Country are getting over $2.4 million in federal funding. The funding is part of a program by the Federal Aviation Administration to improve airports. Plattsburgh International Airport received over $1 million for new snow equipment. The Ogdensburg Airport got funds to expand its terminal and conduct a wildlife hazard assessment. The small airports in Messina and Lake Placid both received money to replace snow equipment as well. Lake Placid also got additional funds to reconstruct and add space to the tarmac. People on both sides of the border feel the once cozy relationship between the U.S. and Canada is under threat, and the main driver is President Donald Trump's antagonistic policies and rhetoric. Earlier this spring, a small group of Americans and Canadians met up in southern Quebec, just across the border from Clinton County. They talked about how the current political environment has and hasn't changed things for them, and what their role is in preserving the relationship between the two countries. Kara Chapman was there and has our story.
Thank you very much.
A couple dozen people file into a small brick house in Hemingford, Quebec. They check in and get name tags at a small table. Red with a little maple leaf if they're Canadian, blue with a couple stars and red and white stripes if they're American.
Welcome, everybody. Bonjour tout le monde. Merci d'être venu. Thank you for coming.
That's Wendy Ayat. She's a co-organizer of this meetup. They call it Friends Across the Border. Ayat says she's lived in the Hemingford area for about 8.5 years.
But even in that time, I've witnessed the strong connections that exist between, across the border, between Canada, between Quebec and New York State.
She says President Donald Trump's second administration has strained those ties. Trump's tariffs on Canadian goods, Canada's response, and Trump's threat to make Canada the 51st state have led some Canadians to boycott American goods and tourism. The North Country Chamber of Commerce says border traffic was down by a third in May compared to the year before. Janet McFetridge is the mayor of Champlain in Clinton County. She says that shift in attitude and behavior is why she reached out to IOT to organize today's gathering.
And I'm so grateful that you are all willing to welcome us to your community. I really deeply appreciate that. And perhaps in time, you will be willing to come see us. So today, let's take the time to listen to one another. Let's have the courage to engage in conversation. And let's begin to rebuild the trust between us.
During a round robin of introductions, some Canadians say not much has changed for them over the last several months. Among them is Hemingford's mayor, Drew Somerville.
I have no troubles crossing the border. I'm a member of a golf course in Lake Placid, and we cross weekly, and it's everything normal for us.
Other Canadians talk about how they're sacrificing some of their favorite U.S.-based activities, like camping in the Adirondacks and visiting Lake Champlain. Some say it's about solidarity with Canada, while others say it just feels scary to cross the border right now. Patricia Woods of St. Bernard-de-l'École says she feels for small U.S. businesses who are hurting from a decrease in Canadian visitors, but she doesn't feel like there's any other choice.
I've no way of knowing how to help the bigger picture than by staying at home, because I hope the message will somehow become evident to the ones who make the decisions that the decisions have been incorrect.
Americans at the gathering say they enjoy visiting Canada. They love its culture, food, and businesses. And they say they're heartbroken and angry over the Trump administration's actions. Frank Redner is apologetic.
We love this country. We love our country. And as a 22-year Air Force veteran, I'm appalled and ashamed at what some of the things our country is doing.
That sentiment has evolved into a bigger movement. Over the July 4th weekend, more than 200 people participated in a rally in Ogdensburg. It was one of more than a dozen so-called elbows up protests across the country to show support for Canada and Canadians. Jane Lammers told the CBC that Canadians are friends and business partners.
And the administration has done so much to destroy our relationship. It's totally unnecessary, and we're totally against what the administration is doing.
Back in Hemingford, the goal is to help preserve that relationship in a quieter but very personal way. Kathy Sager, an American from Plattsburgh, says she believes in the power of people and relationships, like those being formed today.
There will always be good, kind, caring people who say, this is not okay, and I want to do something to help, and I want to do something to make a change. And so when people like that get together, things happen. And I believe that will continue to happen.
Sager says she hopes people will be moved to make change at the ballot box. That's what Catherine hopes for, too. She's a Canadian who asked not to use her last name in order to maintain her privacy. Catherine says she's looking ahead to the U.S. midterms next year. But in the meantime, she's skeptical about the outcome of today's Friends Across the Border gathering.
It's hard to keep up those connections when there's hurt involved, both sides. I mean, this is a nice event and everything, but it's a few people.
Fellow Canadian Patricia Woods says the relationship between the two countries must prevail.
It has to. I mean, we're stuck together. We're stuck together. There's we can't just sever off and float away. And we need each other, big time.
The group comes up with some ideas for how to keep coming back to each other, an email chain to share events, a cross-border book club. They hope other neighboring border communities will come together to do the same. Kara Chapman, North Country Public Radio, Hemingford, Quebec.
We have more news all the time on our website, ncpr.org. Music today by Patricia Julian of Burlington and B. Children of Canton. I'm David Sommerstein, North Country Public Radio.